Good afternoon, everyone. It is Saturday, July 27th, 2019, and this is my resuming the tortures rehabilitation report. However, I think I'm going to change the name. I never liked the word rehabilitation. It always sounded kind of wonky, kind of like some government agency made it up. So I think I'm going to change it to, and indeed I am, to the Reform the Tortures report. And today's topic is the sacred feminine, the ability of men to see the divinity in the feminine, and how that was lost and how it needs to be reclaimed, or we're going to destroy the earth. And if you look around the world, every culture has abuse against women in all its forms, whether it's domestic abuse or prostitution or trafficking or child abuse. But there's one country that is a first world country, and it has all this industry and commerce and industrialization. But if you look to Italy's southern coast, it is, other than with the big steamships, or what are they called? Those big cruise ships that go by and pollute the coral reefs these days, which is really unfortunate. But that coastline is gorgeous, it is undeveloped, and it is pristine. And the villages just look like jewels, perfectly created, engineered, architected to fit beautifully into the dramatic coastal ranges there. And the name that the Italian mafia uses to describe that part of Italy, that cherished part of Italy that has lasted untouched for centuries, is La Madre. And for all of you who refuse to learn another language, that means the mother. And if you look to the culture of Italy, Italians as a culture tend to adore their women, and they cherish their mothers. And they're actually often, I saw a show on this once, reluctant to leave home even when they're dating on into their 20s and 30s because they love their mother so much. And you can see that it's filtered down from the Catholic Church, which is the dominant religion in that country. And having traveled through Italy, there's a Catholic shrine or church on every corner and in every nook and cranny along a hiking trail. And you know, the Virgin is worshipped there. Whether you're secular or Catholic or any other religion, they just portray that symbol of womanhood so beautifully in their architecture and artwork and cathedrals. And so it's so troubling when you look to what has happened in Italy compared to what is happening in the United States. And it's no accident, I believe, that a culture that cherishes women and respects women also cherishes the land. That's a natural outflowing of that. And the Italian mafia has been around a long, long time, and Italians in power understand power very well. And so they understand the importance of respecting feminine power and the attributes of the sacred female. And that comes back to bless them. So getting back to America, in my specific situation, for those of you hopping on for the first time, there's an infestation of youths under my floorboards and in labyrinthine rooms and passageways all under the city of Eugene. And they've decided that I'm a prime target to try to funnel into a sex trafficking ring where I would be a prostitute for remote viewers. And the way they try to oppress and abuse me is through these military weapons. They're electromagnetic chemical weapons that shoot right through floors and ceilings and cause horrific pain, often rashes, bruising, bloody contusions, and the latest state of the art can penetrate right into the deepest regions of your body, passing through two clenched fists, possibly to maim, do organ damage, cause cancer, cause brain damage, blindness, or in the case of today, try to strangle you to death. And so I was lying in a fetal position from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. With this barrage aimed at my chest and throat. My chest still looks like the moon surface with all the pock marks and contusions. And I could not get them out of my throat, and I was constantly gagging and choking and in fear, fighting for my life for hours today. Simply because I wouldn't become their obedient, warped creature doing self-defilement and being a part of their cabal to oppress women across societies in this manner. And about noon, I finally shifted crosswise on the bed, and I heard below someone say, "She's too out of range now. He won't be able to reach her the same way." And as the minutes went by, the pain did recede a bit, and I could breathe more easily. And then I heard somebody say, "She's out of danger now." And I have a whole lot of allies down there. I heard a lot of yelling and screaming and people trying to save my life, and the rage of the abusers who are just getting apoplectic that they can't control me. And that's why I'm doing these reports. I keep hoping to, pierce their darkness and their destructiveness, because all this hatred against women is terrible for the male psyche, to someone just holding a place of extreme hatred and desire to completely subjugate, violate, desecrate, and destroy all that is of value in a woman. And so soon thereafter, I ran to my bath, and I got in a detox bath of baking soda and Epsom salts, where I continued to stay huddled, trying to protect my vulnerable areas as they continue to shoot me in the bathtub for almost 2 hours. And then finally, they seemed to run out of ammunition for a while, and I could get up and eat something for the first time about 3 o'clock. And so I just want everybody to just take a step back for a minute and just consider what kind of culture systematically wants to desecrate women as a culture to this level that the answer to anything is to shoot poison at her. And this, of course, as with the Italian mafia, who hold the women as sacred and see the divinity in women, and it is projected onto how they cherish their beautiful wilderness in the south of Italy, that it goes without saying that this is why we are systematically raping and destroying not only millions of women and children, but vast swatches of pristine land, and not even in our own country, but all over the world. And our planet is dying. Our planet is our mother. It is time to get over your fear of the principle of creation that exists in half of the species, and learn to be protectors rather than destroyers before it's too late. You have to see the connection. And so finally, just to wrap up, I've known all along that this is connected, this operation is connected to the deep state that have been hunting and targeting me for a decade for my peace activism work, and threatened by the way I've been able to establish networks all over the world of people who love freedom and peace and and democracy and want to try to get along despite all our differences. And but rarely, it's like they threw me to a pack of jackals and said, you can do whatever you want. We won't get in the way, whatever you want to do. And I've been wondering where they've been getting all this money for these chemicals, because they've got to be expensive, all this technology. And they assault me almost every waking moment of the day with some kind of chemical or gas. But today, for the first time, I heard two men that sounded over 30, and they had that sort of flat talking style that one often connects with government operatives. And one sounded like, it had that tinny sound like it was being Skyped in, and the other one sounded like he was in the adjacent room underground reading the riot act to the ringleader, who has been the worst abuser to me, and maniacally determined to break me and destroy my sacredness. And so this guy, he didn't sound like an ally to me at all. I didn't catch a lot of what he was saying, but he didn't sound like he, was a fan of mine, and he sounded extremely angry at this guy. It sounded like he was scolding him for messing up the mission. And I heard him say, look at her now. It's like she brushed you off like you're a mosquito. So let's let that sink in for a minute. And then he said, all you've done is make her look like a hero. Okay? And so I just want to get back, just to wrap this up. I comment periodically about how there are greater forces at work in the world, in the universe, and you never have complete control. The only way to get true power is to align yourself with the power structures that are already in place. And so I think, especially for young men, part of why I don't capitulate is not only so women can walk free, unafraid of this plague they're about to or try to unleash worldwide, of this chemical weapons assault on innocent people. But I don't want to capitulate for the sake of the men. I don't want to give in to what I see as a weakness, which is an inability to have a mature, realistic perspective of their place in the world and the universe. And, over my dead body, either way. And if you think about the notion of karma, that if you try to play one side completely unfair to the other side, eventually that's going to come back to bite you in the butt. And I know these government operatives, they're afraid to kill me. They've hoped I would commit suicide by now by making my life miserable enough. But given that that hasn't transpired, I know that this comes down from probably the CIA, that they were just kind of try to destroy me and turn me into this sort of living, perverted zombie creature of the defilement of woman program. And instead what has happened is I'm not the one embarrassed and ashamed. I'm the one that looks like a hero. And that's what these guys were supposed to look like in the eyes of their creepy, dark world brethren. But it seems that the situation has evolved in just the opposite way. And that's not an excuse to hate me or any other woman. It's just the way things work in the world. So it's time to just face the truth, face the facts, and learn from people who know about power and what true power is. And you can see by how they manifest things in the world. Okay.